On Joy News Prime tonight, Speaker of Parliament threatening to sanction MPs and staff who refuse to submit to COVID-19 tests.
It is mandatory for every member of Parliament, every staff of Parliament to test for COVID-19.
Landlord who shot and killed tenant over rent issues charged with murder and remanded in police custody by the Bekat District Court. He is to undergo screening for COVID-19 as investigations continue. The university advises against reopening of schools at the time the coronavirus pandemic continues to spread.
That opening now is very difficult and probably should not be attempted.
And in business,
Ghana Statistical Service to assess impact of coronavirus pandemic on local businesses.
Then recently launched the 600 million stimulus for businesses in the country, and it is important for us to follow up on the businesses that will be receiving some resources from this fund.
And later in this bulletin, residents of Akapo Kofe and surrounding communities in the Adaklu district of the Volta region drink from dugouts infested with frogs.
I'm Israel Lai and anchoring Joy News Prime live on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air.
And my name is Aisha Ibrahim, coming to you live from our studios in Kokomile on digital address GA09925339. The bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144.
In our first story, Speaker of Parliament Professor Michael Quay is threatening sanctions against members of Parliament and staff who refuse to take mandatory COVID-19 tests being conducted in the House. About 690 staff, including MPs, were tested last week, but there are said to be hundreds more who are yet to present themselves. Professor Michael Quay says the test is mandatory and everyone in the House is expected to comply.
It is mandatory for every member of Parliament, every staff of Parliament to test for COVID-19. The press corps must also submit themselves to testing. Honorables, further to the tests taken last week, it is imperative to inform that we should take this matter very seriously. In this connection, on Thursday and on Friday, the team has been recalled to Parliament. They will come right here to test members, staff, media, etc. Please, the decision is that in our collective interest, it is mandatory. Please, don't wait till we get to the stage of applying sanctions.
But MPs are divided over whether the Speaker has the powers to sanction MPs for not taking the test. Isojamang MP Thomas Ampimdako says the Speaker has no such powers. But Kumbungu MP Ras Mubarak says the Speaker can change MP sitting place from front bench to back bench and even prevent them from coming into the House if they do not comply.
Your seat in Parliament could be changed. That is one.
Maybe from a front bencher to a back bench.
From a front bench, from front bench to back bench. You could be asked to stay away from the precincts of Parliament. Suspension could apply. I mean, there's an array of sanctions that are applicable for members and individuals who want to be in contempt of Parliament, and they need to be reminded of the existing provisions of our standing orders.
So for you not doing it could actually amount to contempt of Parliament?
It is contempt. It is contemptuous to decide to disobey the Speaker's directive and not challenge it, because if you disagree with the directive of the Speaker, you would have to come by a motion to challenge that directive. And if you haven't done so, clearly you would not have the basis to go contrary to what the Speaker has directed.
Meanwhile, Parliament has denied reports MPs and some staff have tested positive for COVID-19. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has more.
The Majority Leader's press conference was just to respond to that, and he's been explaining that Parliament will not know when there is a situation of a positive test when it comes to COVID-19 because the samples are taken, and when a case is determined, the officials who took the samples and the National COVID-19 Management Team liaise directly with the individuals. And so Parliament has no available statistics and data on those who are testing positive or otherwise. And so he's been denying the reports that have emerged that there's been some case of positive test. And in fact, the Director of Public Affairs said that the reports have actually sent panic among members of staff here in Parliament. And so they would want to set the record straight that no such cases have actually come up.
The Ghana Health Service says it has dispatched personnel to the Western region towns of Sekondi, Takoradi and Tarkwa after a surge in COVID-19 cases there, describing the region as an emerging hotspot. The region is said to be responsible for 57 of 156 new coronavirus cases recorded on Tuesday. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abadje, Tuesday's COVID-19 briefing also told journalists the country's case management team will be taking a decision on whether to continue use of hydroxychloroquine in the treatment of severe coronavirus cases after the WHO halted its use over safety concerns. Komladom has more.
As of 24th of May 25th, a total of 156 new cases have been recorded in Ghana. There are 15 cases who are severe. We have recorded 32 deaths so far.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abadje, on the latest COVID figures in Ghana from the 156 new cases recorded since the last update. Greater Accra region had 72 cases, but it is the Western region which has been described by health authorities as the new hotspot.
The new hotspot is in Western region, who reported about 57 new cases. And these are currently we're going to do, because they look like one of the new hospitals are surging, is mainly the Takoradi, Sekondi Takoradi municipality and Metropolis and then Tarkwa. So a team will be going there to see how we can quickly assist the region to bring it under control the same way we did in Obuasi.
Following the suspension of the use of hydroxychloroquine for treatment of persons with the virus by the World Health Organization, Dr. Abadje says Ghana's position will be known only after a meeting of the COVID management team.
As I speak now, of course, we wait for the formal communication, but the case management team now are meeting to take a decision on what to do. We only use it for critical cases. We don't use it for routine cases. Those who are being managed at home do not take hydroxychloroquine.
With more than 40 health workers currently infected by the disease and 288 of them in quarantine, there have been concerns the frontliners are being badly exposed and without adequate protection. Dr. Abadje has been addressing this issue.
To address that, we've intensified the training, further training on infection prevention and control across the facility, especially outside the treatment centers where they are more careful. And we implore all to abide by these principles. We have also started training our mortuary workers and other workers who are likely to come close to this thing, just to mitigate this matters.
Meanwhile, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Charles Oredu says government has not made any firm decision to evacuate all Ghanaians stranded outside the country following the return of 230 persons from Kuwait.
We know of those who are in Holland, those who are in Germany, those who are in Ukraine, those who are in Russia. We have all that data. Now, as to the decision, so we don't have like a decision to bring in all Ghanaians. But this category, like the Kuwaitis, they are the ones that a decision was made, to bring them in.
In a separate development, government has taken delivery of 10 ventilators from P. Wood Ghana Limited and the Tema Bonded Warehouse Company. Management of the company says the ventilators, each costing about 40,000 cedis, are to augment government's fight against the virus. Here's General Manager of the company, Yasmin Arthur Shiagbo.
As an individual and through his company and with his corporate social responsibility, he just thought it would be, it would be good to, assist the government, right? As a corporation, he thought this would be best to assist the government by providing a ventilator, and to help out healthcare workers, right? I mean, they're the soldiers in front of all of this, right? So whatever he could do, that's what he's decided to do.
Meanwhile, Senior Minister Yaw Sarfo-Marfo says government will have a final round of meetings on Friday to determine how the easing of restrictions will be done to restore economic life. The Senior Minister, who was speaking at the Information Ministry after receiving 10 ventilators from P. Wood Company Limited and Tema Bonded Warehouse, said Friday's meeting will climax a series of engagements with experts and other identifiable groups who will be making inputs on how to relax the restrictions.
Must be going on economically. The country must be socially cohesive. And therefore, we have to put all the various measures in place to ensure that at least we go about our normal work very well, but taking into consideration the various measures to ensure control over COVID-19.
You said the final meeting will be on Sunday. How many groups or identifiable groups have you met so far or consulted?
Almost all the identified groups who matter in this, like the chiefs, the churches, that have all had close discussions with us. And the group of our experts continue these discussions. On Friday, we'll put all of this together, and on best advice available, we'll make the various decisions. Don't forget that in Europe today, they are reducing the restrictions. Germany is reducing the restrictions. France is reducing the restrictions. Even in the US, they are reducing the restrictions. Which means that we must find a way of restoring the economic life in one way or the other, bearing in mind the need to ensure the safety of our citizens.
The authorities in Sekondi Takoradi say they have been left with no other choice than to shut down markets there. The tagging of the city as an emerging hotspot is said to have also unnerved residents. Correspondent Natalia Quanta has more in this report.
Takoradi is now being cited as the new hotspot for the spread of COVID-19. The city, together with mining town Takwa, are now top on the list of places where the virus is spreading like wildfire. Residents are alarmed at the news.
You don't know who is carrying it, and so you have to be very careful with yourself. So that is what we are basically doing, making sure that we adhere to whatever thing that the government has brought to us. So if you go to town, you see that the town is very quiet.
Well, now you are even scared to go out. You are scared to go out. The hospitals, when you go there to the hospitals, you realize that the patients are not even coming. They are not coming. And I ask myself, why is it that now the hospitals are not recording patients as they used to? They are scared. The staff are equally scared.
This is the famous market circle in the heart of the Western Regional Capital. Its packed alleyways and stalls are now being blamed for the spread. City authorities are contemplating shutting down the trading center as many calls for social distancing have fallen on deaf ears.
This market circle, Takoradi here, has become it's one of the notorious areas that we have this social distancing not being adhered to. Yes, we decided, the Assembly decided to decongest this market by sending some of the people to the Jubilee Park so that the market will free up. People can move easily and have the social distancing practice here. But you can see and you can call that since yesterday that we were here, in the evening 5 o'clock, we were here, they came back again. They were selling.
In the Western region, at first when it started, we started with one, it went to, and it went on and on and on and on and on and on.
The Ghana Health Service says it is deploying men to the area to find out what the problem is and how to tame it. But in the meantime, the city and its people continue to live in fear of this deadly virus. In Natalia Kwansa's report for Joy News.
And joining us on phone is the Western Region Health Director, Jacob Mahama. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahama, for making time to speak with us. Now, what is accounting for the surge in cases in the region?
Yeah, there is a surge in cases in the region. It's partially due to we now doing our own testing. We had a very big backlog. So what you're seeing is just the accumulated figures. Then that is the figures have just come all of a sudden. But they are samples that have been kept for a long time. And now we are able to test in our region. That is why the numbers are going up. So that is the main explanation. When we send our samples to Accra in cases, but the Ghana before they came. And now we started testing in Takoradi itself, in the veterinary lab.
The Ghana Health Service...
Hello?
All right, but I'm saying that the Ghana Health Service is the Ghana Health Service. The Director General has been speaking about it, and it is worried about the surge in cases. Are they not aware that it's supposed to be a backlog, like you're saying?
They are aware. The backlog is there, and then the records are there to show that there was a backlog. And then we are not testing. That might not be the main reason, of course, because maybe there have been some one or two reasons why it has gone up. But the main reason is because the backlog is being cleared. And you see, one you can have about 58, 30 cases. That doesn't mean that they all got infected at the same time. It's just a backlog that we are now clearing. Hello?
But the Ghana Health Service, again, is sending some personnel over to the region to come address the situation. Does it mean that their visit is not necessary?
Oh, it is necessary. Why is it not? It's necessary because they're even running out of reagents and pipettes. And when they come, they will see it for themselves. We are working together with them.
So you're expecting them to come, but you're more interested in the reagents and the things you're running out, not so much because they can help solve the surge in cases, which you say is a backlog.
Two heads are better than one. When they come together, maybe there will be something that we didn't actually notice. But we all knew that because people are not keeping the protocols, the preventive protocols, not only Takoradi, most people, most regions are also experiencing the same thing. But I'm saying that this sudden surge in numbers is because of we are clearing the backlog. I wish you could have been connected to the lab. They will tell you what they're doing. They run 24 hours shift just to be able to clear the backlog. And at the time we need to send, we even had to send thousands of the samples to Accra vet lab to have them done because it's not easy waiting for a result when you don't know whether you're positive or not. So we try to actually clear the backlog so everybody knows his or her status. And like I said, that might not be the main reason, but there are other reasons that might actually have accounted for the increase in numbers. But we at the regional health director know it's because of the backlog and at the laboratory.
All right. Have you been able to clear the backlog now, or there's still some more?
No, we still have over 2,000 samples to be cleared. We have over 60%.
So it's likely there are going to be a few more cases.
Then we had 4,000 done. And then we still have about 2,266 backlog, which we are working on.
All right. Thank you very much, Jacob Mahama. Jacob Mahama is the Western Region Health Director. Back to you, Aisha, in the studio.
And from the Western region, let's head to the Central region, where 6 personnel of the Ghana Police Service and 2 community protection assistants in that region have so far tested positive for coronavirus. That's according to the Central Regional Commander, COP Paul Awini. He told journalists during the disinfection of the regional police headquarters and other state security facilities the men were infected in line of duty after a high-risk COVID-19 operation.
Counting off my fingers, I can say 6 police personnel and 2 community protection assistants have tested positive for the COVID disease. And I must say that they have all been taken to treatment centers. They are being given the best of care. And as we are speaking now, 2 were discharged over the last weekend. And we now have about 4 police personnel and 2 community protection assistants still in the treatment facilities. As I mentioned earlier, they are receiving the best of care. The Director General in charge of welfare, under the instructions of the Inspector General of Police, is in close touch with them and is providing for all their welfare needs. The personnel are in high spirit, despite the fact that they tested positive for it.
The Central Regional Minister Kwabena Duncan is, however, worried about how some residents of Elmina and Moree are unwilling to cooperate with contact tracers, as 56 persons tested positive within 3 days. The educationist has also been adding his voice to the raging debate about the reopening of schools. He says he is for gradual reopening of the schools, starting with final year students.
The unfortunate thing about Moree is that where we have had confirmed cases and we have had to follow up with contact tracing, those who have been contact traced, it's difficult getting them to put them on the quarantine area. And unfortunately, for the entire town, you have individuals who rise up in their support. So first, they themselves are not ready to be placed under quarantine, and second, you have young men who also rise up in the town and not ready to, even where you have security to go in, to permit for them to engage with them and to get them. So it's a real difficulty for us. My underground report is that in terms of the social distancing, if you get to the beach, that is still not observed. And then you see some gather to play ludo, play draft, play spa, and all of that is going against or breaching the rules of social distancing. So there's a real difficulty in these coastal towns. And one other area is Elmina. Elmina, if you look at the figures, they have added on to the already rising figure. And their number was not interesting. For 2-3 days, we had as many as 56 or so coming from Elmina alone. We have a danger that the longer, especially the final year student, the longer they stay home, possibility may be that they may lose track of all the things that they have been taught. And that is a real danger to them and to their future.
Kwabena Duncan is Central Regional Minister, and back here in Accra, President Akufo-Addo says he's counting on the diverse background of recent appointees to the Supreme Court to enrich the country's jurisprudence. Professor of Law Henrietta Mensah Bonsu and private legal practitioner Emmanuel Yoni-Kolendi became the latest addition after a rigorous test, bringing the number of judges on the court to 18. At a swearing-in ceremony at the Jubilee House, the president charged them to be fearless, impartial and resolute in the discharge of their duties. Presidential correspondent Elton Brobe has more.
Ghana's Supreme Court has 2 new additions: Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu and private legal practitioner Yoni-Kolendi, Emmanuel Yoni-Kolendi. Now, these 2 individuals, some few hours ago, took the oath of allegiance, oath of office and oath of secrecy to be counted among the 18 membership of the Superior Court of the Republic of Ghana. Now, for Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, she is a law professor until this appointment, which went through the General Legal Council to Parliament, to the Council of States, and finally before the President, where she took his instrument of staff of office. She was the chairperson of the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy, and then the president of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Now she comes on the job with 39 years of experience, both local and globally. Sounding more biblical, she said she will work to ensure and preserve the dignity of the 1992 Constitution and the national anthem.
I have today taken on the onerous responsibility of a Justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana. As my favorite lines of our national anthem go, quote, "With our gifts of mind and strength of arm, whether night or day, in mist or storm, in every need, whatever the call may be, to serve thee, Ghana, now and evermore." And so I here make the pledge that, as always, I will devote my time and talents to her call and serve her to the best of my ability.
Emmanuel Johnny Kolendi comes on the job as one of few individuals who have been appointed directly from the bar. Indeed, for President Akufo-Addo, his appointment and, rise to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana gives him so much joy, because Johnny Kolendi started his legal practice at the President's Law Chamber, Akufo-Addo and Prempeh, after graduating from the Ghana Law School, before going ahead to set up his own private legal firm. And he comes on the job with proven integrity and independence of mind, something that President Akufo-Addo is hopeful he will use in the discharge of his duty. For Johnny Kolendi, the appointment to the Supreme Court comes with so much satisfaction for him, one that he is hoping to use to advance the cause of the rule of law.
I wish to assure His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana that by the enabling grace of God, I shall, like Caesar's wife, conduct myself above reproach. In all matters, I shall demonstrate uncompromising fidelity to the Constitution, the law, and the evidence before me. I shall remain true to my judicial oath, my conscience, and God.
So with a membership of 18 now, the ball is now set for them to begin their work. President Akufo-Addo was full of praise for them, but entreated them to uphold the rule of law and ensure that they discharge their duties without fear or favor. What are the expectations of President Akufo-Addo as he moved them from where they are to the Superior Court of the Republic of Ghana? For him, appointing people from diverse backgrounds will ensure that the delivery of justice be done devoid of personal interest and affiliation to religious and political stance.
The situation where judges prefer judgments on the basis of decisions from lower courts and cite them as law is not acceptable. And even less so when judges cite no authority at all for their rulings and give orders without reasons. Judges, more so justices of the Supreme Court, must be learned, know their case law, and ensure their decisions and judgments are properly motivated.
From the Jubilee House, Elton Brobe reporting for Joy News.
And back here in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim, and still to come in this bulletin, residents of Akapu-Kofe and surrounding communities in the Adaklu district of the Volta region drink from dugouts infested with frogs. There is more when we return from the break. And it's time now for business. Sandra Peno has the latest from the world. Sandra, what's in business?
Yeah, at least we know that coronavirus is causing a lot of problems in the business world, but how much do we know about that? Statistical Service is going to do some research to find out the impact, the real impact on businesses, and we'll be talking about that in business.
That will really help us to plan. Take it away, Sandra.
Yeah. So celebrating 25 years of joy, my name is Sandra Sinamapena. As always, I'm here for business. For now, it is unclear how much havoc the coronavirus is wreaking on local businesses due to the lack of proper data. In this regard, the Ghana Statistical Service says it is taking steps to assess the impact of the pandemic on businesses in the country. The service added it is embarking on a business tracker survey to establish how enterprises have been hit by the pandemic.
After the first two cases recorded in March, the country's figure has risen close to 7,000 with over 2,000 recoveries and 32 deaths. From a 2-week lockdown to border closure and a ban on social gathering, businesses are the most affected. This culminated into high inflation figures for the month of April being 10.6%. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the coronavirus pandemic has wreaked severe havoc on businesses globally, and Ghana is no exception. As part of measures, government has made available 1 million Ghana cedi stimulus package aimed at cushioning small and medium enterprises.
Will provide negotiated counterpart funding to the tune of 400 million cedis, making in all 1 billion cedis for disbursement under this business support scheme. It is anticipated that the entire scheme will attract some 180 beneficiaries across the country. The allocation of funds under the scheme, which shall be managed by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, The public agency is mandated to promote and strengthen MSMEs in Ghana.
The Ghana Statistical Service, in collaboration with the World Bank and other allied agencies, have set in motion an impact assessment survey to measure the effect of the disease on businesses. Professor Kobina Enim is the government statistician.
Ghana Statistical Service, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program and the World Bank, is rolling out a business tracker to help the country get a better appreciation of the impact of COVID-19 on businesses in Ghana. The President recently launched the 600 million stimulus for businesses in the country, and it is important for us to follow up on the businesses that will be receiving some resources from this fund and also those that will not be receiving, to help us appreciate how the intervention would help the country recover based on activities of businesses in the country. As at 5 years ago, the number of businesses that were running in terms of operations were in excess of 630,000, and the number of people who were engaged in these businesses were in excess of 3 million. This is a significant percentage of our total population that we have, indicating about 10% of persons who are engaged in either large, medium, small, or micro enterprises.
When all this is done, the outcome, according to the Statistical Service, will better inform managers of the economy on the next line of action. Fred Duho reporting for Joy Business.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsia-Asare, says an average of $50 to $65 is spent on testing samples as Ghana continues to battle against COVID-19. The cost, however, excludes picking samples and taking them to the laboratories. So far, more than 202,000 tests have been conducted.
And the conservative estimate for each test ranges between $50 to $65 per person. If you look at the kits, the extraction, the operational costs, and the human resources costing about that. This excludes the cost of picking a sample and delivering it to the lab. And so it's quite a very expensive undertaking, but it's worth what we're doing. Treatment, I would say, is free for all, and the government picks up all the bills, including the bed fee, the medications that we are giving, and feeding of all the people who are in our treatment centers. I will not be able to put a strict figure to that, but depending on where you are, if you move all the way to the ventilator, obviously the cost of care is quite high. And the Ministry of Health picks up all the bills routinely to look at how these are managed. So we need to do some further costing to see, on the average, how much it costs to treat a person.
So that was the Director of the Ghana Health Service, Patrick Abuaji, actually speaking. To other stories now, the business news summary is next, and top on the list tonight, Fisher folks said to be struggling despite COVID-19. Details coming up.
Friends of the Nation, a social environmental NGO, says it has identified the lack of political will to enforce fishery laws as a major threat to food security and sufficiency in the country. According to the NGO, Ghana's fisheries sector has good laws and management plans, but weak implementation continues to contribute to the decline of fisheries livelihoods. To this end, Ghana's marine fish stock is overfished to the extent of near collapse, and fish landings are all-time lowest. Outgoing Managing Director of Tallow Ghana and Executive Vice President of Tallow Oil PLC, Kweku Awotwe, says government would have to work hard to make up for the revenue shortfalls created by falling crude oil prices globally. The outbreak of the novel coronavirus has led to limited demand for crude globally, resulting in a dip price from almost $60 to nearly $30 a barrel. In Ghana, the situation has led to fuel price reductions, while government is losing revenue from its annual projections for oil revenue. Government has rejected to receive $1.56 billion from oil revenues, anchored on a price prediction of $62.61 per barrel.
And that'll be all for the first part of business. I'm back after 8 p.m. with more business news updates. Stay tuned in.
Time now now for Showbiz. Becky is here with the very latest. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. How you doing?
I'm good. What's up?
Stephen Appiah is up. Stephen Appiah is talking entertainment. He says that he's hopeful that the entertainment industry will bounce back, but only if industry players plan well. So it has to do with planning, Stephen Appiah.
Talking about entertainment, I mean, we have our musicians, we have other staff that entertain us in Ghana, and we've seen ourselves today not living our normal life is very, very difficult. But we are praying that soon we'll go back to our normal life, and whatever we used to do will come back and we will enjoy ourselves. I think everything is planning, so if they plan well, I think why not? Maybe it can even be better.
All right, so still on Stephen Appiah, he also touched on the beefing in the industry, in the entertainment industry. He says that's a good thing, it's good for the entertainment industry, but when you're doing it, you put, your mind to it.
Today, nothing is going on, and we've been hearing about beefs, and it's part of the entertainment. I mean, the industry, when you go to America, I mean, beefs happens all the time. So we hope that it's not going to be too much. And I mean, when it comes to beef, we have to know the kind of words that we use and all that. So yeah, they can beef, but I mean, they should watch. I mean, the things that they say. It's part of the industry.
But I mean, that's good. It's good, and of course, it's good to put some sense into their head that I mean, the beefing is good, but you need to do it in a way that doesn't offend anybody. But again, there's also another beef between medical and
I don't want to call that a beef, but medical called Eno cops, if I can say that on TV, and so he was on Daybreak 8 and he was asked to apologize, or what, basically he tweeted something about calling cops on, and then he said he doesn't, he said he's not going to apologize. He doesn't own any apology.
You called her a corpse, which a lot of people thought it was unfortunate. Why did you label her a corpse?
Next question.
No. No.
Next question.
No. With this issue, it can't. There can never be a next question.
There should.
No. No medical. If you say next question, I'm very sure a lot of people will be disappointed in you, because I thought this would be a great platform for you to explain, or if you have to apologize or retract it, then you do that. But for you to say next question, I find it a bit disappointing.
You shouldn't.
Why shouldn't I?
Only next question.
No, medical. You're born of a woman. You have sisters. You have a wife. If you call a female or you label her a corpse, and better still would find no proper explanation for it.
I'm not going to just stay there and then just say something. You get me? I'm not going to just stay there. There's no smoke without fire. Obviously, I said what I said because I was in my feelings. You get me? I don't get any apology. I don't get anything talk. I would like Moko. Move on.
There you go.
I don't think. I mean,
well, you can't force anybody to apologize.
It when men are insulting women. I mean, it's not really nice.
Yeah,
it's not nice.
I know.
But what's from South Africa?
Well, Mapito is from South Africa, and she's been speaking to some industry players, a makeup artist and a presenter from South Africa. They've been talking about COVID, after showbiz after COVID, the way forward, what we're supposed to be doing after COVID. They have all the information for us.
I feel like you were saying, collaboration is the key. Like as artists, we need to look in collaborating. An environment of collaboration is an environment of growth. At any given point when two forces come together, like it's inevitable that something great can come out of it if both parties are focused and have a common goal. So I think artists should look more into collaborating.
So importance of collaboration, working together so that we can, create work together. Raymond, how do you think we can move forward?
Look, I mean, you know what? When we have to look at the industry, I think for me, people are always concerned about how do we go about deconstructing the structures to make sure that they benefit us as artists. And I think moving forward, we need to start thinking around that. And I think during this time of lockdown, it's one of those times where we can be pensive about kind of thinking about how do we come up with innovative structures that can be able to move the industry forward. You know, it's about, for me, looking at the younger artists and what are they thinking and what kind of ideas do they have that they can put into place to ensure.
And South Africa is one of the countries trying to ease restrictions.
Yes.
And of course, yeah, they need to bounce back. Thank you so much for bringing us showbiz.
We've been speaking about their Klassiker all day long, and today Dortmund face Bayern Munich. Thank you for joining us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary Al Smith with the sport, but Bayern Munich had a 1-0 win to ensure that the title bragging rights seem to be going to Bavaria. What it means is that Bayern Munich have stretched their lead to 7 points ahead of Borussia Dortmund. Bayern on 64, Dortmund on 57. In our next story, sports in Ghana needs restructuring to generate enough revenue to support the game. That's according to the Deputy Sports Minister, Perry Okujeto. He was speaking to us in a Sunday interview beyond the lockdown.
Moving forward, MFA, I think that we need a new direction. And we need to look at the structure of sports in Ghana. Over the period, what you notice is that sports, apart from politics, has become like the mainstay when it comes to especially discussions in the media.
Of course.
However, sports, if we look at the story of countries that have made a lot of strides and are very successful and have multi-billion dollars from sports, there is a certain approach. The approach is that there's a lot of marketing, branding, and promotion, merchandising, and a lot of event management when it comes to sports. In Ghana, what you see mostly is controversy and acrimony about one matter or the other. What happens is that at the end of the day, sponsors step back because sponsors don't want to attach their brand to controversy. And that is what I believe has contributed to the lack of monetary derivatives over the period. And therefore I believe that post-COVID, all of us as stakeholders should sit down, you media people, as policy makers, the stakeholders like the federations and the confederations, we all sit down and ask ourselves, where do we want to go post-COVID? And how do we get our sports to generate the kind of revenues that it generates in other countries?
And that's it for the sport for now, for those on Joy Prime. I'll be back on the other side of 8 for more on Joy News.
Now, the landlord who shot and killed his tenant over rent issues has been remanded in police custody by the Abeka District Court to be tested for COVID-19. Victor Stephen Anakankam, in an interview with Joy News Monday, justified his action, claiming self-defense. The incident has been linked with a failure of the deceased to move out of a 2-bedroom apartment rented from the landlord. The suspect was provisionally charged with murder to allow police to investigate the matter further. Adam FM's Mapena Duho Mensa reports.
It was an emotionally charged court as many families, friends and sympathizers of the deceased tenant, Benjamin Oche, besieged the Abeka District Court. The District Court, presided over by Her Worship Ajua Echama Ofosu, remanded the suspect into police custody following requests by police for further investigations and also to test him for COVID-19. The suspect, who was charged with murder, is to reappear in court on June 8. The landlord had earlier stated he shot his tenant In self-defense, family of Benjamin Autry prayed for justice.
Me odi for ba sa me ba na nya me ka cha mo say onye akra na nkasa na no kwesi ada me wo fie ene e frɛ me say yaku me ba no.
Kobe is an upcoming musician and a very quiet person. I am a prophetess, so if my son is a bad boy, I will let everyone know and not shield him. I was home on Sunday when I received a call that my son is dead. Our son is currently at the mortuary, and we know his mother has money, but we leave his murderer in God's hands.
Yes, man, no. Enti e dey ban she freedom. Ya nim ba bia say sie omode na ekọ. Ya bo afọ na Awurade.
Mavna Dohu Mensah's reports for Joy News.
Elsewhere, a 61-year-old and his 26-year-old accomplice have been handed a 50-year jail term each for robbery and conspiracy to rob. Mohammed Ali and Ibrahim Yakubu were convicted for the involvement in the robbery of passengers on the Techimang-Mesidang Road. The sentence, according to the court, is to serve as a deterrent to other robbers who have become more active in the area in recent times. And Asabit was at the court in Techimang.
Mohammed Ali, 61, and Yakubu Ibrahim, 26, were each sentenced to 50 years in prison for robbery and conspiracy to rob. Although the two pleaded not guilty at the start of the case, the Techimang Circuit Court, presided over by His Lordship Justice Alexander Graham, found them guilty at the end of the trial, which lasted for about 7 months. Presenting the facts of the case to Joy News, Prosecuting Officer Detective Inspector Famous Agbasa indicated that 2 of their accomplices were acquitted and discharged after the court found them not guilty.
We went to full trial because they pleaded not guilty to the charge, so that gave room to go into full trial. The 2 accused persons, that is the last 2, that is Abubakar Seidu and Wahab Musa, were acquitted and discharged at the close of prosecution case, as the judge ruled that there was no prima facie case was made against the 2. But the first 2, that is Muhammad Ali and Ibrahim Yakubu, had been sentenced to 50 years imprisonment each on various counts. So in all, the 2 have been handed over 100 years imprisonment for conspiracy to rob and robbery, 50 each.
Handing down the sentence, the court noted that the activities of robbers have been on the increase within Techimang and its environs, and people like Muhammad Ali and Yakubu Ibrahim do not deserve mercy, but harsh sentences to serve as deterrent to others.
The judge, before pronouncing this judgment, he sounds a word of caution to the public that robbery is on ascendancy, and it is activity that is posing some kind of border to law-abiding citizens who are hardworking to bring food to their table. But just a second, some furious people will attack them. So it sounds this word of caution that should serve as a deterrent to them, and also a way to make robbery unattractive to those who want to engage in. So basically, this is what happened.
The 2 were said to have robbed passengers on the Techimang-Mesidang Road at gunpoint. I inquired from Detective Agbasa if he's happy with the ruling.
Of course, I'm happy with the ruling. And I hope every law-abiding citizen will also be happy with this ruling, because these are the very people who live among us and be terrorizing the life of very good law-abiding citizens who are always on the round to bring food to their table. But some people decided not to work. And in just a second, they take you at a gunpoint and forcibly take your belongings. So I'm happy.
From the Techiman Circuit Court, I am Anas Sabit for Joy News.
In other news, the founder and president of Ashesi University, Patrick Kewua, says it will be a disaster if government reopens schools at a time the coronavirus pandemic is raging. His comments come even as government rounds up consultations on the lifting of restrictions instituted to curb the spread of COVID-19. Several teacher unions have already raised issues with the reopening of schools when the world is yet to develop a vaccine and the implications for especially schools in the public sector. Speaking on Joy Prime's virtual policy forum hosted by Daniel Danzi, Mr. Kewua said the government must proceed with caution. Emmanuel Ante has the highlights.
As a school owner, Mr. Kewua is worried about a possible increase in spread of COVID-19 if students return to school under the current circumstance.
I would say that opening now is very difficult and probably should not be attempted. We should just say that we've lost a third term of the academic year. We should have a plan to get WASSCE grades generated for students who were in the third year this last academic year using continuous assessment. And let's not attempt to complete this academic year. Just take the next few months off as well.
But former Director General and Rector of the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, Professor Stephen Adair, proposed a possible solution.
That we must distinguish in this case between the final years and the other students. I think that we should not rush with the non-final year students. In fact, for me, even if they have to start the next academic year in January, we can manage it. But we must make sure that we don't bulge the two so that we can concentrate on the final years only now. If we want to concentrate on the final years, it means that if you go to the secondary school, only the final years are coming.
Former Education Minister Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman was worried about poor hygiene in public schools. She proposed health education should be deepened in schools.
My focus or my interest has always been on the public basic schools, simply because this is where the majority of our people can afford to send their children. You go to a school where there's no washroom. So you ask the teachers, okay, so what do the children do? Then they'll tell you, oh, they go to the bush. Then you ask her, so what education are these children getting? So those were very important.
Retired educationist Anis Hafa says the pandemic has offered an opportunity to clean up the education sector.
We are in a revolution. There's an inflection point in education that we cannot discard. And this crisis offers opportunity to clean up our act. And that's what I'm suggesting. In the meantime, what are we going to do with the public schools? And the issue that I raise consistently is this: to see how management is effective or ineffective, walk into any public school as we speak. So what I'm saying is this: in the meantime, we need to really bring everyone on board, especially the corporations. That's not a one-man show.
In all their submissions, what ran through was that reopening of schools should be thoroughly thought through to avert hikes in COVID-19 cases. Emmanuel Ante, reporting for Joy News.
The Western Naval Command at Sekondi Takoradi says it is strictly adhering to all health protocols after some personnel of the Navy tested positive for the virus. Zoom Lion has been disinfecting all vessels, offices and roads at the naval base in the western region. Maxwell Agbagba was there for Joy News.
At the Western Naval Command, before you enter, your temperature would have to be taken, and then no mask, no entry. Yeah, I've been speaking to the flag officer commanding of the Western Naval Command, and he says some personnel of the Ghana Navy here have tested positive for the coronavirus. He says they have been isolated and they are being treated.
So we're doing a lot of testing too.
Okay. Contact tracing, have you recorded any cases here?
Well, I don't want to go there, because it goes with stigmatization. It goes with stigmatization. But the issue is that we have everything in place. We are in close contact with 37, and we have all structures in place to contain all issues that we shall encounter.
Okay, but you say it goes with stigmatization. Does that suggest that you've recorded some cases here?
Of course, yes.
Okay, how many cases?
Please, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to numbers because you may test positive today, in 2 weeks' time you may test negative. Okay. And the one who has tested negative today, tomorrow may test positive. So I don't want to do with numbers because it's uncertain.
Is it more than 10?
I don't want to go there, please.
Okay, but are these personnel of the Navy?
Yes.
Okay. But do we know how they came into contact, how they became exposed?
It's been because of our work. Okay. We go on different ships to inspect at sea. We provide security for the nation at sea. We have to ensure the borders are closed. So we come into contact with various vessels, and that is our work. We go to sea to make sure that people on board other vessels don't harm the interests of the state. And by so doing, we expose ourselves. You know,
that probably exposed them to the virus.
Yes, and that is our work, and we'll continue to do it.
Okay. He has also been talking to me about measures they've put in place to ensure personnel here are protected from the coronavirus.
At the entrance, you don't enter, your temperature is taken. We have Veronica buckets at various places. We have sanitizers. You don't enter here without face mask and others. We are following strictly the protocols. Beyond that, on our own, we fumigate the ships. And as you can see, today we come to help. Zoom Lion is come to assist us.
More than 200 sprayers are involved in today's disinfection exercise here at the Western Naval Command. I've been speaking to a senior member of the Vector Control Unit at Zoom Lion, Albert Jangba. He has been telling me more about what they are doing today, the chemical composition of what they are using to disinfect this place.
The chemical, I must say, is bleach, right? Sodium hypochlorite, yes, bleach. Normally, the people refer to it as a chlorine solution, but it's generally referred to as bleach, okay? And then we are using bleach generally to disinfect the areas, high surfaces, okay, high risk areas, and then we'll be sanitizing the ships too. It's very important that we target those areas because when you look at the ships, okay, almost every part, when you enter the ship, every part of it is touchable, it's metal, right? And they are, when you enter, you descend, you climb, it is highly possible that you touch a surface, okay? So our main concentration is on the ships, and that is where the Navy normally also operates.
I've also been speaking to a member of the Corporate Social Responsibility Unit of Zoom Lion, Lola Ashite. She says they have so far disinfected some technical university campuses here on the Western Naval Command for free. She's been telling me more about the disinfection exercises.
So for the voluntary disinfection exercise, we have done all the 12 public universities in Ghana. We have also done 4 of the technical universities, 8 of the private universities, and we've done 27 other institutions for free. Now, some of those institutions include the Ghana Prison Service, the Ghana Armed Force, the Ghana Navy, like we're here, and many more other institutions who have also benefited from the voluntary disinfection exercise of Zoom Lion.
Residents of Akapo Copper and surrounding communities in the Adaklu district of the Volta region have a challenge with potable water. As a result, they are compelled to turn to frog-infested water from a dam they dug themselves for domestic use after a borehole and 2 wells expected to supply them water failed. There is more in the following report by Fred Kwame Asare.
Adaklu Akakpokope is one of the satellite settlements in the Adaklu district of the Volta region. Residents here solely depend on farming to support their livelihoods. For many years, residents of Akakpokope and its surrounding communities have been suffering the lack of access to potable water. Efforts by philanthropic organizations and the government to curb the water challenge has been unsuccessful. 2 wells constructed in the community couldn't produce water, while a borehole provided had also broken down.
o dole nya chu ba ngo pipe ka menemi pipe ngola etia ngo ba gbla ko mi ba no ga ba trosile enchinemi amo ka ma va vinya ga ba yo amaro ga tu ho ga va o ga ba ngo ya ma va ni aw ba fia ji ko mi le.
Due to the inability of the residents to raise about 1,000 Ghana cedis to repair the borehole, they decided to construct a hand-dug dam to conserve rainwater. It has since been the only source of water in the community. Though water in the dam is infested with frogs, the residents have no alternative but to rely on it.
Na kube ya divide ko ating vonalama ala bene mi tofia kaka to dagbo ma kala tojima yemi na ba kuchi le fima afia gbo ta na ba de vio mi wala na ti le to ma afia ku gagbada ka kokogbo ta no gbo nyanya mele de mi le ngo fogo ko yitoma akpere ma anyele to ma akpere ma afia kogbo fifia oba de pipe de doga kofe yemi aje vona mi je gbola le ka je shita mi mateng ko nyana en de vio bongo tana suku yuiro kuraha de vio teng pana fule tibanyama garoma ka foto mi aklono afi.
The minority in Parliament is chastising the Minister for Finance for not releasing monies allocated in the 2020 budget for the desilting of drains to the Ministry of Works and Housing. Former Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi says the situation is putting the lives of Ghanaians in danger as the rainy season approaches, warning it will result in severe floods. He wants President Akufo-Addo to intervene immediately.
The President in February came to Parliament and assured all Ghanaians that the necessary funding required for the desilting of choke gutters will be released. I can report that from the checks I've made at the Ministry of Works and Housing, even commencement certificates has not been released to the Ministry of Works and Housing, let alone processing a contract to be awarded so that choke gutters can be desilted. And so we should pray. If the rain sets in now, we are all in trouble. So I want to use this medium to appeal to the President to personally intervene to ensure that the Finance Minister releases the commencement certificate to the Works and Housing Ministry so that they can start the process of awarding contracts for the choke gutters to be desilted. Otherwise, when the rain sets in, all of us will be in trouble.
Samson Ahi is former Works and Housing Minister. The inter-party resistance against the new voters register is threatening to disrupt the compilation of the new register should the EC proceed with the plans to register applicants. The party argues that the move to compile a new register will disenfranchise over 10 million prospective voters. At a press conference, spokesperson for the group, Bernard Mona, insisted the exclusion of the voters' ID as part of the requirement for the new register is an attempt by the EC to rig the December polls for the governing NPP. Parkwesi Wilson has the rest of the story.
So if the Electoral Commission will not listen to common sense, we will resist. They will beat us. They will kill us.
No, you want the EC to beat you?
Yes, they will send people to beat us. They will beat us. If we don't die, we will resist.
That's the spokesperson of the group, Bernard Mona, threatening to face off with officials of the Electoral Commission during the planned registration exercise. The group accused the Electoral Commission of political bigotry by excluding the existing voters' ID as part of the requirement for the proposed register, insisting the move would disenfranchise over 10 million prospective voters. Mr. Mona called on religious bodies and civil society groups to speak out.
To the EC, the NIA, and the MPP, that we are still alive to our collective civil responsibility to rise in defense of our young democracy. We shall do so without let or hindrance from the oppressor who is applying the people's discretionary powers vested in them whimsically and capriciously. We will continue to demand from the religious leaders. By the way, are they still alive? The moral society, the civil society organizations, for their timely involvement in preventing an impending implosion by getting involved to cure the wanton abuse of power, complete disregard for due process, and neglect of common sense in the discharge of the EC's mandate towards 2020 general elections.
Bernard Mona also argued that both the Ghana card and the passport have been obtained by foreigners and cannot be used as a source document for the registration.
The authority, the CEO of the authority, authorized the arrest of his own officials. The officials were picked, the foreigners, some of whom they were able to apprehend. How many other foreigners are on the NIA card list that are not known? We are told that Nigerians are there. Are Nigerians Ghanaians? When the police picked them up, didn't they admit that they were Nigerians? So it's obvious that the NIA card ab initio, even before the processes can be completed, is already suffering even a worse foreign infiltration than the voter ID card has suffered. The National Passport Office, passport. Have you forgotten Anas Armiyao, who did an investigation about the Passport Office, where even President Kufuor's photo was used to acquire a passport? Those passports are still valid today. So foreigners have also acquired the Ghana passport. So the Ghana passport cannot also said to be without falling infiltration. So if you are looking for something and you are making the argument that it is because foreigners could probably be on the list, then I'm saying that every other card system that we have in this country has the foreign infiltration content in it. So all the cards should be abandoned so that we can do what we call the vouching system.
Mr. Mona threatened to resist any attempt by the Electoral Commission to compile a new register for the 2020 December polls.
So people who are already Ghanaians, who are already registered voters, are now going to be taken away from the voters register. Don't you think that confusion will come at the voting station, registration station? And when confusion comes there, you think that the Electoral Commission staff will be safe? We will beat each other there. We will kill each other there. If that is what the Electoral Commission want to lead this nation to.
We're still live on Joy News Prime. Remember, we're free to air because we are on DTT. We'll take a break. When we come back, there is more in business.
Hello again, let's wrap up business tonight. And 4 main markets in the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly in the Western Region to be closed down on Thursday for a week to allow city authorities to put in place appropriate measures to avoid the spread of COVID-19. The Metro Assembly over the month has received admiration from governments and other institutions for being the first to practice social distancing at their markets in the country. But with time, traders have proven recalcitrant to measures, among other directives. Correspondent in Natalia Kwanzaa joins me via Zoom for more on this move by the authorities. Ina, thanks for your time. Describe to me the situation at these markets to necessitate the action by city authorities.
Thank you, Sandra. So initially, the Takoradi Market Circle, which is the main market, is where we have over thousands of traders there. On a day, averagely, we have over 5,000 people trooping in and out. So somewhere last month, some of these traders were moved to the Takoradi Jubilee Park. Along the line, they were demarcated space for them to trade. They have a 2 square meter, and then in between this 2 square meter, there was a 1 square meter for each trader to observe social distancing. But along the line, in the course of the week, you realize that the place became overcrowded, and then the outer perimeter of the market circle where these traders were moved and were asked not to come back but trade at the market circle, these women came back to the place. So this place was spotted as a hotspot for the spread of the COVID-19. This closure of market does not only include the market circle, but the Kojokro market, the number 9 market, which is around Efiekuma. We have Sekondi market, and also Kojoko Market, which is also going to be closed down on Thursday for a period of 1 week.
Ina, so how are they communicating with the traders ahead of the exercise on Thursday?
Yes, Sandra, so they started communicating on Saturday. They were even supposed to close it today. So for most people in the Sekondi Takoradi metropolis, from Saturday, I saw a lot of people shopping. They were trying to buy their stuff. So they had to do more engagement for the Queen Mothers at the various either markets, tomato Queen Mother, rice Queen Mother, to understand why this has become necessary. You know, today the Western region, precisely Sekondi Takoradi and Tarkwa, has been also identified as an emerging hotspot area. So this has become very necessary for the assembly and then for the people in the region, because Sandra, when you get to the market circle, you realize how crowded people are. Everybody is moving in, and some people are not even wearing their face masks. Some have it around their chin, and then there is no space. They are just not observing it. City authorities have done their best, just like you rightly said. Even the president had said the Sekondi Takoradi Metro was doing well when it comes to social distancing. But now the case is different.
So, I mean, in between the 1 week period, what's going to happen to customers and people who want to go to the market? Do we have some sort of arrangement to have some sort of market somewhere for them so that if I want to still get my food stuff, I can go there and buy, or it's total closure, you need to shop ahead of that?
Well, some would have to shop ahead. Others would have to use the satellite markets within their communities. That is the plan. And even shop operators around the market circle would also be closed down from Thursday, we are just a day to Thursday. So this is the situation.
Right. Thank you so much, Ina. We'll be back on Thursday to see how that exercise goes on. To other stories now, and suspension of funerals and social activities amid closure of Ghana's borders due to COVID-19 is taking a toll on businesses in the Ashanti region. Affected entities, mostly small and medium-scale enterprises, are therefore looking forward to receiving government stimulus package. Before that materializes, the Ashanti, Bono and Ahafo zonal branch of the Association of Ghana Industry says it is supporting members with subcontracts plus assisting them to manage limited resources.
We are in Kumasi here. Kumasi is a socio-economic cosmopolitan region. You know, our funerals are regarded as one of the biggest social gatherings. So you can see that whenever there's a big funeral here in Kumasi, all the hotels are full. In fact, some people don't even find places to sleep. And recently, when the Independence Anniversary was held here, everybody was so elated, and you could see that the whole city went agog. Since the 11th of March, we've been home. Each year we are talking amongst ourselves, we are talking with the government, and we are encouraging ourselves. We are actually teaching our members what to do in times of like this, and we are telling them how to actually manage their resources, the little resources that they have. We have a platform, and every day we share ideas. So during such times, what you must do, you must set your priorities right, and all those things. So we are doing a lot for our members. Those in the garment and textile sector, now it's compulsory for everybody to wear. I can see you wearing Unijay's nose mask. So we are encouraging them. In fact, we have three members producing the PPEs for the government. They have also outsourced it to some of the members, lesser members, and those we are trying to find some materials, good materials, fabrics for them to produce for the general public instead of waiting for education, the schools to reopen. So we're trying to diversify. We're trying to do things so that at least you can get something to cushion the hardship that we're facing at the moment.
And try to diversify. And I hear some also exploring going online with some of their businesses.
Yes. That is very true. But as I said, How many people are ready to assess those things?
Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayokor Botchwey says African countries are working to ensure effective implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement despite the pandemic. Delivering a statement on the floor of Parliament to mark AU Day, the minister says despite the setback due to the coronavirus pandemic, member states are working around the clock to meet the July 1 takeoff date.
Countries are applying technology and innovation to unleash great potentials for its development, as well as to address the challenges of climate change. African economies are also becoming integrated with the coming into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Mr. Speaker, one of the cardinal objectives of African leaders in 2020 has been to operationalize the African Continental Free Trade Agreement by establishing the Secretariat in Accra at the end of March 2020 and to begin continental trade by 1st July 2020. The AFCFTA is expected to bring tremendous benefits to the continent, including enhanced continental trade, factor market integration, and also attract investment for sustained economic growth to facilitate the creation of the badly needed job opportunities for the continent. The enhanced trade relations and growth from this initiative is estimated by the UN's Economic Commission for Africa to be about 52% over current levels and to generate a collective GDP of 2.5 trillion for Africa, making the continent the 8th largest economy in the world.
Crude oil is making gradual recovery, trading today at over $35 a barrel. Let's see the market figures in commodity news. So lend a helping hand, and that's how we wrap up for business tonight with me, Sandra Esinam Appen. You can get more news on myjoyonline.com/business. Stay home, stay safe, and stay beautiful. Thanks for watching.
And thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary Al Smith with the sport, the second hour. In our first story, COVID-19 and what it's done to football is still a story that's reverberating across the world. The response is also something that's being discussed. Here in Ghana, you may have heard on Sunday that the Deputy Sports Minister, Perry Okudzeto, said that government was not giving sports part of the stimulus package. But in response, the Data Bank CEO Kojo Adai-Mensah believes football actually deserves some more government support in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic.
There may be no data backing the contribution of football to the Ghanaian economy, but Kojo Adai-Mensah believes it wouldn't be less than 5%.
To start documenting the data that is available. You see, the thing is that the data is available, but it's all over the place and it's not in an organized manner. So it is time for us to actually sit down and calculate. Anecdotally, we can figure out about how much it is contributing to the economy if you can average, you can average salaries, you can average the taxes that come out of the salaries, you can average attendance, stadium attendance, and how much money is flowing through that, and do and extrapolate it, and then see what at the end of one season the contribution. I can't give you exactly how much sports or football specifically will contribute, but on top of my head and anecdotally, I won't be surprised if it hovers around 5%. It's possible.
The GFA in April made a proposal for government to extend its stimulus package to small and medium-scale enterprises. Government indicated sports was not factored in the conversation when the decision was made to set aside the package for businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. But the Chief Executive Officer of Databank tells Joy Sports it is sacrosanct football benefits from the money set aside to resuscitate businesses.
The FA have to attempt to get some stimulus package for the clubs. I agree that they have to go in for some package one way or the other, and not only to the government, but to CAF and to FIFA as well. Because I think CAF and FIFA are all thinking about this and the impact it has. And you know, football is a grassroots game. And the most vulnerable people are in the grassroots. So if something is not done to figure out how we can bring this game back and get people involved and get monies flowing through again, I think it's going to be a big problem for us. We have to bring sports back.
He also advised the Ghana Football Association to find alternative ways of ensuring that football is resumed.
Cancelling is a temporary situation, but that means it will have to come back. So it's not about whether we've cancelled it or not. Because whether you've cancelled or not right now, we are not playing. You get a point. So the question is not about cancelling. I don't know why people are fixated. You cancel and so what? The club still exists. The players still exist. Training still goes on. Everything is still going on. So I don't think that cancellation, you cancel, then after that what? We have to sit down and start asking ourselves, how do we play the game safely? That is the real issue. We need to sit up and say, how do we play the game safely in our environment? We don't, right now, with the structures in Europe, we don't have that infrastructure where people are now having isolated showers in the dressing room and isolated stuff. But we have to find our own homegrown solution to find a way of bringing the game back.
The GFA last week met with the government COVID-19 team and tabled proposals on how football could be resumed. For Joy Sports, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
How can we safely play football as Kujua Diamonds? Well, in looking at that argument, we also have to look at building the Black Stars when COVID is over. And according to former Ghana international Godwin Atram, the Black Stars will get better in the next 6 years, but only with proper management.
Football has really changed, and then I think the structures we really have before is not what we're having now. That's why under 17 and under 20 we're really slacking back. We are not all that good now, but thanks to God that now we have a new GFA president, which is Mr. Keto Kreku. The measures he has really put on board, believe me, I urge everyone to support that man. We have been there in the professional way. And what he's bringing on board now, believe me, it will really help Ghana. What we have never done before is trying to do it. Assemble national coaches. Not that you be only the under-17 coach, so you does your own thing. Like what have happened recently. That a coach as under-17 or under-20, he does things alone. Even if there's good matches for him to play, he would rather play low-key matches than facing the top clubs to, assess what he really got. That's what has been happening before. So we will not do good. We will not be good in the tournament. But now the measure he has put on board, all the coaches need to work together. Even if you are a under-23 coach, Black Star coach, under-17 coach, under-15 coach, we all share ideas together. We scout players together. We'll bring it to the coaches. You are the final say. But please, these are the players that the organization have really scouted for you. Watch it and see if it will be good for you. And you are not the only one to make that decision. So I think things will come back to its normal form of the understanding. So I think within 4 to 6 years, give within 4 to 6 years, you will see that Ghana will bounce back in most of the national.
4 to 6 years.
4 to 6 years. Because these are the 15 that you are talking about. They will do what? they will be promoted to under 17 in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
The under 17 now will be promoted to where?
Under 20. Yeah.
In 2 years' time.
Yeah.
The under 20 will do what? To under 23.
Yeah.
So in 6 years, believe me, you see great players in our national team. I'm talking about Blaster.
Speaking of the Black Stars, the former captain Stephen Appiah was in our studios a couple of days ago, and among the many questions that were asked of him was about regrets. What does he think are his regrets? And most importantly, would he think or would he say that despite not winning any trophy with the Black Stars, his tenure was a success?
Yes. I'm saying yes because somebody would think that, oh, okay, why is he saying yes? He didn't win any trophy. But I would say that people came, they want trophy, but their target is to play to the World Cup. You understand? You can, when we meet players and we try to tease each other, we don't tease each other like, oh, I won the league, and somebody will say, oh, I won the league, I did this, I did that, and I'll say, but I play in the World Cup. Did you play in the World Cup? And you see the person will
keep quiet.
Yeah. So far as we had the chance to qualify, to have the feel of the World Cup, I think yes, I would love if we won the trophy with the Black Stars. I mean, African Cup. But the funny thing is, you see, when I talk about Africa, you know that I played only 2 African Cup.
Yeah.
2000 when we co-hosted with Nigeria. That time, myself and Oforikwe, we were the youngest player in camp, so we didn't even have the chance to play. We played only 35 minutes when we played against South Africa in Kumasi. 2002, we didn't qualify. 2004.
2002 was Mali.
Hey, sorry. We qualified.
We qualified. We didn't go through
3 days to the tournament.
From the group stage.
I got injured.
Yeah, so you didn't play.
I didn't travel with the team. 2004.
We couldn't go.
Yeah, we couldn't qualify. Tunisia, we couldn't qualify. 2006 in Egypt. Yeah, we didn't do well. So I mean, I would love to be here today talking about winning something with the Black Stars, but all the same, at least I have the chance to qualify with my soldiers, to qualify to play in the World Cup.
And on that note, we end the sport. Thank you for your time. I'm Gary Al Smith. Don't forget, we have more happening on our social media platforms.
And it's time for the interactive segment, and you've been following the story of a landlord who shot his tenant dead, and he's been charged for murder today whilst investigation is underway. And you've been hearing from family of the deceased saying that he's not a bad person, he's a very quiet person, he's an upcoming musician, but this unfortunate incident happened. We posted this on our Facebook page. This has generated a lot of comments, and 36 comments, 10 shares, 57 likes. Let's check out what Aponsajo is saying. Self-defense nonsense. Animals like this will always have block-headed lawyers. Okay, this is quite harsh. Let's not use harsh words in our messages. And Honey says, oh, but who will shoot a gun towards a fellow being apart from self-defense? Under moral laws in gun usage, you don't shoot at someone who is not armed. That's a crime by itself. But shut up. Wonder how those who have sometimes outside most at times think they can, you know, get away with it. Self-defense indeed. Erica Santi says, this is very sad. A case like this badly affects advocacy and call for abolishing of death penalty in Ghana. Nancy Dewu says, the CID who gave you the gun taught you how to use the gun for self-defense, right? Ghana and its cooked stories from big heads to the subordinates. Abena Asaf Frimpong says, there's nothing like he had refused to move. Apparently his rent was to expire on the day of the incident and he was ready to move out. Victor Tay Naote says, definitely there are underlying causes for this insanity. None justifies the killing of a fellow man. And Obedi Abua says, Oyiwa, Ifunu, the lawyers have started intervening for him to tell lies. And Jamal Nuru says, you carry gun, go tenant house, go defend yourself. And he says, British accent doesn't make you smarter. And those are some of your comments there. Easy. I hope you've been following the story as well.
Yeah. I have been following the story, and I'm sure you're also one of those who still can't understand why this landlord will go to the tenant and what I
it's just totally,
it is.
It's just totally against the laws of the country. If you look at the Tenancy Act, it doesn't even give you the opportunity to force people out of your room. You can't do that. And we're told this is, his tenancy ends on this same day that he was shot. The landlord has no business ejecting him. He should have given him at least 3 months to look for another apartment before moving. And of course, he cannot forcefully eject his tenant unless with a court order. And he doesn't have that. At least he's not provided that.
You know, Aisha, the fact that we're told that he actually wore a bulletproof vest and went to the house carrying 2 guns. I'm trying to imagine what to
a tenant who was not
Let's look at some more of the comments. And Kwabna Watson says, self-defense, and you fired 4 shots. Yes, Umoja Inka winning why? And Solo says, you went to his house armed so that defense would not. You went to his house. You went to his house armed, so that defense would not hold. And Nagana we do anything will happen when we hear pounds and dollars. All right. So those are some of the comments. I'm sure people are going to be talking about this for a long time to come until we hear some plausible reason why this could happen. But that's it for the bulletin. This is Israelite. I'm anchoring from home, and over to you, Aisha. It's been good doing this with you.
And of course, we'll be monitoring this to the last minute of the investigations, just to know what really triggered the landlord to shoot his tenant. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. PM Express is up next with Evans Mensah. You want to stay with that conversation. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Thank you.